From Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather.
And I am Lynda, but you can call me Mama.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. And we are back today with more fantastic patriotic projects. And this time we started with things that were very plain. Let's jump right in with project number 1. What you got for me, Mama?
Well, I quilted your little crazy quilt.
You did a great job.
And I think you did a good job putting this together.
Thank you.
But you need a bigger one.
I do need a bigger one, but I think we could get several projects done. Let's show the people what we can make with it, okay?
Okay.
Mama found several of these circles that have beads on them, and they're in different sizes. I chose one of the smaller ones because we don't have that big of a cutter quilt. You know, if you can't find a cutter quilt, that's an old quilt you can cut up, you make one. So that's what we did. I am just gluing a piece of this that was a rectangle we had left from something else onto the bottom of one of these hoops. I pulled it pretty tight when I got to the top. Now, when I did the back, I used a piece of drop cloth, and my drop cloth is used, so there's some paint on that. I frayed one edge, and I laid this one down flat across the top and pulled it really tight. I didn't want the beads to lose their shape, and it didn't. I didn't pull it that tight. And I just added more along the bottom with my hot glue gun, and I pressed my hand on it hard. If your hot glue gun has really hot glue, be careful because you don't want to burn your fingers. I added some along the very outside of the beads, and then I folded those two pieces of fabric together and kind of pushed them in to where they meet. Then I took my scissors and I cut just around that part that I had glued, just on the outside of it. I liked that raw edge where the fabrics met together, but if that's not your thing, just go ahead and glue some ribbon or lace on it and cover that up. So I had this great big red flower, and I've had it for a long time and just been waiting for the perfect place to put it, and I found it. This wreath, that's the place. I got that at a Facebook marketplace pickup where when I bought some things, the woman said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to get rid of all my crafting stuff. You want it for $10?" It was like 3 ginormous garbage bags of florals and other stuff, and then one of those little plastic drawers and some other stuff. I was like, yes, let's put it in my truck right now. And I took it home. So when I made this flower arrangement, I did not put any floral foam in there. You could if you wanted, but y'all, I'm cheap. I value my time and my money, and if I don't have to do something or use something, then I'm not going to. If it looks just as good and if it works just as good. And glue worked really good. If you're not great at making floral arrangements, this is the kind of arrangement you should start with. I anchored those flowers to each other, and I also anchored some to the beads, and I just put glue between the pieces of fabric to keep them down inside there. I glued the greenery down, and there was one piece that was sticking out the other side, and since I'm trying to make this double-sided, I wanted to cover that up. So I just got another leaf and put it on the other side and glued those tips together. I made a couple of bows with scraps from Mama's Quilts of Valor foundation fabrics, and I did that just by tying a bow like you would tie your shoelaces. And just like floral arranging, if you're not great at making bows and you have something you can glue a bow to, glue is your key to doing it well and making it look like you're a pro. You can glue that stuff down anywhere and then you just fluff it up. I made sure to cut the ends in what I call duck feet. A lot of people call them dovetail. And I didn't want them to show from the other side, so I made those shorter than the bottom of the wreath. I added little bits of floral to hide some of the stems, but you could also use greenery or moss for that. I tied a piece of hemp twine between beads on either side, and this turned out so pretty. This was Mama's idea, by the way. I'll show you pictures with the cutter quilt first and then the other side after that. I'm definitely making more patriotic cutter quilts. They're so hard to find. Project number 2. Mama found this super cute basket at the thrift store. It's like $1 or something. But before we get into this project, here's a little PSA. Hey everyone, I just wanted to pop in here real quick and apologize. Sometimes I realize that my what I'm filming isn't in the center of the screen. I just want to thank those of you who just trudge right through that and still appreciate my content. I am learning. I'd never claimed to be a professional cinematographer. I don't know what they call them. I'm not one of those. I don't quite make enough money to be considered one. And I guess I could take classes, but then I would need to make money to pay for the classes. It's just a vicious cycle. So I just have to learn on my own. Anyways, if you're still sticking around since the very beginning when I had absolutely no clue what I was doing, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate that. Like they say in Atlanta, thank you. Thank you so much. One thing that makes me feel better about myself is that my mom is really, really bad at that. I'm gonna have to start making her sit all the way up to the table like how she did when I was a little girl and she didn't want me to get all my crumbs on the floor. I don't want her to have what she's working on off of the table. So she's gonna be scooted way up there from now on. We'll figure it out. But here I'm making a bow, and all I did was take different sizes sizes and colors of ribbons and lace, and I made 2 loops at the center, and then I tied this piece of fabric around them, and that piece of fabric wasn't big enough, so I had to add this little string here, and I tied that to just over to the top side of the basket handle, and through that little white string is another twine that has a star on it Mom found. I think she found them at Hobby Lobby. They might have them at Dollar Tree. They're just like individual stars with beads on the string. And we wanted one to be high and one to be low. We're doing a white one and a red one. And then we're using another piece of the cutter quilt. You can see right there, I cut a couple of different ones for her to see which one she liked best, and she is gluing the red star off to one side so that it wouldn't hang directly under the white star. Oh, and we did tie that star to the handle as well. And then she's just using a hot glue gun to attach the heart to the other side. She held it on there for a little bit. And again, make sure your hot glue gun doesn't get too hot because nobody wants to burn their fingers. They do sell these little finger protector things at the Dollar Tree. You can also buy those and wear those, or I don't know, rubber gloves. I added a little bit of glue underneath the ribbons. I just kind of lifted them. Yeah, I lifted them up and put some hot glue so they would stay put. Baskets are kind of the secret weapon for booth owners. Even if you just put a simple piece of lace or ribbon or even drop cloth on the handle, somebody is going to snatch that thing up quick. We put $14 on this. People really like baskets, especially around the holidays, because they can hide all of their stuff and their decor still looks festive. Project number 3.
The other day, I had an idea about a 4th of July craft, and if somebody else has made it, I never saw it. I hope it's just my own private little invention because I'm proud of it. Heather and Kelly said they liked it, so I'm going to show you how I made one. So we're going to need 3 of these dowels. I bought 3 48-inch dowels, and Kelly cut them down for me.
My sweet husband went right out to his shop where he has no air conditioning and a bunch of tools that were gifted to us, and he cut those dowels right away. You know, this made me think of how we recently joined Buy Me a Coffee. I think I need to find a program called Buy Me a Craftsman. This thing is ancient. Check this out. Well, that's excessively loud. I'll turn it down for y'all. But hey, that old thing cuts a stick, so we're pretty grateful. Someday we'll be big, rich YouTube stars and we can buy all new tools. Or we can pay somebody to do this part while my sweet husband sits in front of an air conditioner watching Westerns. But for now, I have to brag about him a little bit more. You'll notice that he is moving that camera around. He's trying to show you what he's doing while he's holding the camera with his left hand. And he got kind of smart. I don't know what he did. I don't know if he put it under his chin or what he did. Because right here you can see he had to move his hand to hold those sticks. Well, here he's using both hands. So or well, not quite yet, but in a moment, you'll see it. Yeah, right there. See, he's using both hands. So I don't know what he did. He got pretty clever though, and I didn't have to go outside in the heat and film all of this. So I'm grateful for that and for him.
And these paint stirrers that we got at Lowe's will be the side pieces. I'm going to use to stain it Debbie's design diary named Dark and Decrepit. Just going to water it down a little to use as a stain. Have to remember to get the sides in it also, so it'll be uniform. I painted it on, wiped it off, and very pretty color it turns out to be. We'll set that aside to dry. Okay, now we have them all stained. There's one place here where probably the label for the dowel, but we're going to cover that up with fabric, so it won't matter in the end. Now we have to make a decision where we want the dowels to go. Maybe I'll put it here. We drill a pilot hole so it won't crack.
I helped Mama out by drilling holes on the end of each dowel. Make sure when you do this, you hold it so that if the drill bit slips, it won't cut your hand.
Now to make the join more secure, I'm gonna put Gorilla brand wood glue. According to our major craftsman, the sweet husband, the glue is what holds them together, not the screws. I wonder if it would be better just to put one side on and sew the fabric so they can slip it on and then
That's a good idea.
do the other side.
Let me help you tighten that screw, Mom. I think that's a great idea. Can I sew something for you?
I need some in the fabric, some blue with stars.
Like this?
That'll work.
Now, I only have one camera, and Mama was really impatient to get this done right then. So I chose to film what she was doing, and I went back later and refilmed what I sewed. So the piece you're looking at is not the piece that I sewed for this project, but we're going to use it on another one. So I just made a second one to show y'all how I did it. I started by cutting a strip just a little bit narrower than the 8-inch dowel, and then I frayed it on both sides about 1/3 of an inch each. Next, I put it in the machine and sewed just enough to go over the dowel to make a rod pocket. And that's just like a loop that's the whole width of your piece of fabric that you can put a rod through. And to do that, I didn't measure. I just wrapped a piece of fabric around the rod to see what size it needed to be. Okay, I know I have a lot of viewers who do not sew, and that's okay. You don't have to sew to do this. In fact, the first one Mama made, she just glued the fabric right to the dowels. But we think the pocket idea works better, so you could use glue to make the seam where you fold over the fabric. When you do that, just make sure you push really hard on both sides of the fabric to get the glue meshed really inside all of those little pieces of thread the fabric is made from. Make sure your glue gun doesn't have too hot of a heat setting though, because you would burn your fingers if it did, or wear something to protect your fingers from the heat. On a side note, isn't that just a darling little sewing machine? It was my mom's. After I was done with the first loop, we put it on the top rod and we wrapped it around the second rod of her piece, the middle rod, to make sure we knew exactly how long it should be. And I figured out where to put my next seam by just wrapping the fabric around that other dowel. Once I had the second rod pocket made, we put it over the dowels, and I made it just a tiny bit shorter than that width so that when we put the dowels into the other paint stirrer, it would be really tight. We didn't want the fabric to be like floppy. And here's what it looks like when I was done getting it ready to put on the dowels.
Now we have fringed the sides and we've made hems so that there's a place for the dowels to go. And we're going to put the dowels on before we put the other side on. Maybe.
It was a little snug for starting, but Mama just flipped some of the frayed edge around and it fit just right. She put the rod pocket on the other side around the middle dowel, and then she just worked the fabric down over both dowels at the same time.
Should you do this one first? This one's straight. This one is not.
It'll balance out, I think. I'm just going to start them in the board first.
Go ahead and do the next one.
So it was a little snug, but that's how we wanted it. So remember, it would be really tight. All you have to do is just stretch that fabric ever so slightly until you get your rods in place. We did put the screws in the paint stirrers first and get those started to come out the other side. And I just guided them into the holes that I had pre-drilled in the rods. And then I used the drill to screw them down really tight. Oh, and we did put glue on the ends of those dowels and on the painter's sticks before we completely screwed in the screws. We are adding strips of alternating red and white fabric to the bottom rod, and we decided to do this the same way with, just a loop on one side that we could put the dowel through. And I made those strips, you know what? I didn't really measure them. I just kind of ripped about an inch, maybe a little bit smaller than an inch each. You can make those stripes as thin or as wide as you want them. The next step was making a little pouch for Mama to put some flowers in. We cut out another piece of our handmade cutter quilt, and she glued just the bottom like 2/3 down from the widest part of the heart down to the corner, and then she just put some paper towels in there to make it have a little bit of poofy, and then she put some flowers in and figured out how she wanted them, and she glued them. Now, one of the really neat things about this is you could, instead of a heart and red, white, and blue, you could use yellows and greens and put a sunflower there and make this for summer, or you could make a leaf-shaped flower holder and use oranges and greens and golds and yellows and make one for fall. The sky is the limit with this project, and I am so super proud of my mama for coming up with it, as I would say when I was a little girl, all by herself. Project number 4.
Just like that then, or?
I have a new helper. It's my grandson, Zach. He was almost forced to do it because Heather's doing her thing with the editing, and I got to paint some stars here, so just one of each color.
Just one of each color.
Yeah.
Okay. It's always fun to work with Grammy. Unless she's mad, then it's a frightening experience.
And you know what? It doesn't matter if they're not exactly the same.
Just roughly again.
Yeah.
Eyeballing it blasphemes my autism.
Speaking of blasphemy, Mama isn't using Debbie's DIY paint or old-fashioned milk paint, both of which we sell in our booth in Centerville Pickers Market in Anderson, South Carolina, and on our website at spindlemountainmercantile.com. Mama is using stuff she picked up at Hobby Lobby and wherever else on days where she was once again impatient and could not wait to get to the shop because it was closed or whatever. But that's okay. We'll roll with it because Mama.
I suppose when cutting something like this, it's better to cut a little bit longer than you might need because you can cut off any excess.
Oh, yeah.
But if you cut it short,
you can add or you can take away, but you can't add.
Yep.
Crafting, it's a family affair.
You want the wide one too? Or is that just a...
Yeah, I'm probably going to cut that in half, but cut it to lengths.
After Mama had all of her stars painted and they were drying, she cut a small piece of red and white striped fabric and decoupaged it onto a piece of wood that she got, I do believe, at Dollar Tree. And she's using our homemade mixture of half wood glue and half water. We used Gorilla Brand wood glue for this. And so you know, gluing and just a heads up, decoupaging fabric is you don't do anything different than you do with paper, except you know what? It's easier and there's fewer wrinkles. So there's that. I highly recommend trying to decoupage with fabric if you haven't already. You just put the decoupage medium down, place the fabric on top of it, and then put another coat of decoupage medium on top of the fabric and let it dry. I think Mama sometimes uses a little tiny rolling pin to make sure she gets the wrinkles out, but really, you can just smooth it with your fingers. It's super duper easy. As per her usual, Mama was a little bit impatient and did not want to wait for the fabric to dry, so we got out the heat gun. And this is where Mama made a mistake that we liked so much, we're going to make it an on purpose next time we do this. She let the heat gun linger just a little bit too long in one place. And although Elmer Fudd would not quite say there was a fwy wah, it was a little burnt, but we liked it.
Oh, no, I burned it.
Can I be honest? I liked it.
Okay.
Burn it intentionally in 2 or 3 other spots, maybe 4. Just very randomly. Or, you know what? Go along the edge and burn it like that. I like it.
It's coming out here.
I want to see you make a burn mark, like right there.
By the time Mama was done burning or drying her fabric, her stars were dry. And when she knew exactly where she wanted the stars, she could start figuring out the placement for her ribbons. She thought about putting this red, white, and blue one at the top, but then decided on the lace. And I'm so glad she did because I love that lace with that old fabric and the burn marks. It just looks perfect together, don't you think? Before she glued down the ribbon on the back, she also made sure those were in the right place because some of them are really wide and she wanted those to be behind some of the narrow ones. So she had to make sure to put the narrow ones down first. And she just used a hot glue gun to apply those as well. Mommy used the hot glue gun to attach that old piece of lace and the stars. Sometimes when you use a rope or a piece of twine for a hanger on something that's heavy, you need to reinforce it with staples or something like that. But since this is really lightweight, Mama just glued a little piece of hemp twine on either side of the back. And it's not very long because she didn't want that to be what was seen. She didn't want a big gap because at the top of that, I am adding a messy bow. And it's just one of those pile bows that I learned from my friend Sabrina over at Sabrina's Craft Nanigans. Mama was inspired to make this by someone she watched on YouTube, but she doesn't remember who it was. So if y'all know, give them a shout out in the comments. And also, let us know what you think about the one Mama made. Project number 5. We all know that no season or holiday is complete without a book stack from Heather. So let's make one. I am using Debbie's Design Diary Cottage Colors in white linen. And this is a 3-in-1 paint. It has the base, well, the primer, the paint, and the top coat all in one. So it's a one step and you're done. I did give this 2 coats, letting the first one dry in between. This is just a Reader's Digest book from 1981. Sometimes they sell for around $4 or $5, but I don't think this one, it didn't have anything in it that I even recognized. That's not saying a lot, because in 1981, I was more concerned about Sean Cassidy and the Bay City Rollers and The Boy Next Door than I was what Reader's Digest was putting out in their book compilations. But I don't think it's too valuable, so it's okay to paint. I made sure to get that paint around the inside of the covers on the front and the back, so it wouldn't have that green. It was kind of a pretty book, but I need red, white, and blue. I'm adorning the binding with different collections of Iron Orchid Designs transfers. 2 of them are from the latest summer 2026 release, and that includes the Belgravia with all these cute little plates and teacups. They also have a lot of small flowers, and that's what I'm looking for. And Anthenium, or Antonium, whatever. I am using some of the foil from that. I want to make it clear that I have tried IOD transfers on just about everything, including my hands by accident, that part. And by far, the easiest, best surface I have ever applied them to is Debbie's Cottage Colors. This paint is, I don't know, it's like a magnet or something. It just goes on there and boom, you're done. I took my time going back and forth between different designs, and I really wanted it to be red, white, and blue, but not just red, white, and blue. So I chose flowers that were mostly that. And then, like, this one had, it was a little bit too pink. So I can't even remember what book I went through, y'all. I just dug out a lot of my scraps, and it might have been, I think maybe I used some from Madeline, and I might have even used Saint Germain. No, well, I can't remember. Anyway, I found some more brighter, deeper reds and a few more blues. And I also found some more white flowers. And I just layered those all over the place. I also added the foil at the top. I used one little square or rectangle that I had left over from a previous project. And then I found some words that I put randomly all over by the flowers, and I can't remember what one that was from. I believe it was from the spring 2026 release. It might have been Flora Greca, and it no, I think it was the one with the castles and the flat Persephone. Um Saint Sunwin, which I call Saint Owen. I also added a little bit of foil to the bottom. Because I was using scraps, some of them had a very straight cut, so along those edges, I tried to add little pieces of greenery or other floral just to make it look like it was more natural. I wish I would have thought to take thorough pictures before I put the books together, but I totally forgot. I was just so excited to have red, white, and blue books that I didn't have to paint them all. The first one, as my mother would call, is a primer, but I call it primer, of figure skating. I believe it's from the late 50s, early 60s, and I found it in a dumpster. And the red one, I think a friend gave me that. And it's called This Means Everlasting Life. These books are worth maybe $4 to $5 each online. The top one might be worth a little bit more, but the blue one has a big piece of fabric missing on the cover. And some people might like that because that was back when books used real wood for the covers. So you can kind of see the wood underneath that. It actually looks pretty cool, but a lot of people would just think, oh, there's a big hole in that. I found that beige ribbon in a collection on the side of the road, but the velvet ribbon I bought on Amazon, and I will leave a link for that. I usually buy great big long lengths of ribbon for colors and styles that I really want, But if you want something that just gives your project a pop and you don't need a lot of one certain color, I really recommend looking into the Amazon collections of different velvet ribbons, and you can get them in different widths as well, but they're not very long. They're like a yard each or maybe only 24 inches each. If you buy something from Amazon by using my link to get there, they will give me a small compensation, but they won't raise your price. I did not glue down the ribbon or the florals. I didn't glue the pages together because I thought people might want to actually read these books. So on the tag that I put them in the shop, I wrote that they are not glued together. So when somebody unties them, the floral bouquet is going to kind of fall apart. I didn't want somebody that maybe isn't crafty enough to put the flowers back together to go home and untie it to read it and be like, ah, my bouquet. I want them to know that might happen so they can be prepared. This was super easy and it was really fun. I believe I put $17 on this in the booth. In the comments, let me know, do y'all like to make book stacks? And if you do you make them match the seasons or the holidays? It's something I get a lot of joy from doing. So did y'all have a favorite? Of course, I liked the book stack. And I love how creative Mom was with that flag with the paint sticks. And I think that's her favorite too. I totally forgot to ask her before she left, but we really enjoy making patriotic decor. So we hope you do too, because we have some more that we've already filmed and we're going to have at least one more video before the 4th of July. So we can help you create something or be inspired to create something to celebrate this semi-quincentennial 250th birthday of America. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And to those of you who are old to the channel, welcome back. We hope you newbies will join us. We have a great group here and we sure do love them. All of the supplies we used from Debbie's DIY IOD, old-fashioned milk paint, are available on our website at spindlemountainmercantile.com and in our booth in upstate South Carolina at Centerville Pickers Market in Anderson. Don't forget to like our video if you did, and if you would share it on your social media, that's the very best way to help our channel grow, and we would really appreciate that. Until you see us again next time, we hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, we hope you are blessed. Bye.